What's up everybody? Art of Boom here. So today we're going to be talking about the reasons why you need an airsoft gun. So, I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there saying, hey, I've got a real gun. There's no reason for me to go out and buy a little toy gun just to act like I'm going to play war with my buddies. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about using an airsoft gun as a training tool. You could go out and you could buy, for your real firearm, you could go out and you could buy a magazine in here that allows you to dry fire practice. That's going to cost you over $100. You could go out and you could buy you a device where you change out the barrel, you change out the spring system, you have an insert with the CO2 system, and now you have a blowback device that you could use as a training device. That's going to cost you hundreds of dollars. With an airsoft, you can purchase a really nice high quality built airsoft for around $120. You buy you an extra magazine, work on mag changes, now you're looking at $150. By the time you throw in all of the items you need to go with it, you're looking at $200 for thousands of rounds downrange. Now, I know what you're thinking, $200 seems like a lot of money, why don't I go to the range and just blow all that money at the range? You could do that. But there's three main reasons why I would suggest this over the range. Like I said, number one was cost. So once you add all of this up, $200. In ammo, if you were to go to the range in one day, you're spending about $50. So the cost is a huge savings. Number two is convenience. This is the biggest one for me. It takes 30 minutes to get to the range. It takes 30 minutes to get home from the range. That's a full hour of time that I spend going to and from the range. That 1 hour I could have spent doing dry fire practice. I could have spent transitioning on targets. I could have spent doing mag changes in my own house. I could have spent drawing from concealment. That 1 hour was a lot of wasted time, in my opinion, of windshield time. So convenience for me of having an airsoft pistol, being able to shoot it in my backyard, in my garage, is super, super important to me. Now, safety is the third item we're going to worry about here. You don't have to go to a range with a bunch of other people shooting a bunch of firearms. You're not dealing with live ammo. You're dealing with plastic BBs. So if something happens and you're working on drawing, draw, and you get that finger in the wrong place and it goes off and it shoots your foot, yeah, you're going to have a welt on your foot if you're wearing sandals, but you're not losing a toe. About the most dangerous part of a airsoft would be getting hit in the eye. Make sure you're wearing glasses whenever you're shooting these. I know some people use these in war type games, war scenarios. I haven't done any of those. I'm sure they're fun and they're good to go do with friends. But I've never done those before. I've never actually fired at somebody with an airsoft. But make sure you're wearing glasses. Even if you're practicing around and you're shooting at targets in your house, it is possible something could bounce back, hit you in the eye. I've put thousands and thousands of rounds through airsoft and I've never had one bounce off the target and come back and hit me, but I hear it's possible. Now, another safety item that they have on the airsoft is your orange tip. Now, I will never remove orange tips off of my airsoft rifles, my pistols, for the simple reason that I want to be able to easily identify if this is a practice gun or a real gun. I do not know, for the life of me, why anybody goes out there and they remove off their orange tip off of their gun. There's no reason to do it. I mean, absolutely no reason to do it. Now, the only reason I can think of is because somebody wants to look cool by not having an orange tip on their toy gun to make them feel like they've got a real gun here. To me, that's not worth it. The feeling of, oh, I don't want to see an orange tip just because it assaults my pupils every time I put it in front of my face. To me, that's not a good enough reason. A second reason on why I keep the orange tip on an airsoft gun is if a police officer walks up, let's say I'm training in my backyard and someone calls the cops because they say a crazy dude's got a gun in his backyard, and the cops come in my back gate and they see a person with a gun with an orange tip on it, they're going to say, this guy's just practicing. they're probably not going to come in hot and heavy and aggressive. If they see a person that has no orange tip on their firearm, they're going to assume that that is a live gun, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they'll be a lot more fidgety and agitated, which I would be too as a cop, seeing that somebody, I'm not sure if it's a toy gun or a real gun. So keep the orange tip on them. I like the orange tip. I love the orange tip because it's easy to identify the difference between the two. And you say, well, Jason, one's a toy gun, one's a practice gun, and one's a real gun. How do you not feel the difference? So I actually weighed the guns out. And in my real firearm, with 3 rounds in the magazine, it weighs the exact same and has the same balance point as my Airsoft. See, this is a licensed gun. When I say licensed gun, is Springfield, right? And this one was done by, who was this done by? Air Venturi. And I don't know, maybe there's other people out there that do it. I've owned a couple of these. They feel and look just like the real deal. Yeah, I can see if I look at the slide's a little bit deeper, a little bit different. It's not as well done as the actual real deal handgun. But whenever it has the name Springfield on there or Glock on there, you know what they did is this company went in, they got the specifications for the actual real guns, and they tried to match the specifications as best they could. So this gun would match up almost line for line, weight for weight, the same as it does a real firearm. So when you go in, don't just go grab some cheap Walmart Airsoft gun. Go try to find a nice blowback gun that is designed to match whatever gun that you're using on a regular basis. Now, the functionality of this gun is very similar. Actually, it's the same. It's the exact same as it is with the real gun. You have your slide lock in the exact same location. You have your mag release in the same location. I'm actually looking to remove the slide. It's the exact same function as it is with the real handgun. You have your grip safety, backstrap safety in the same place, your trigger safety in the exact same place. The functionality of this is the exact same. And if you look at your magazine loads, they feel, to me, the exact same. They're nice and smooth, they drop out. These magazines are weighted magazines, so they feel like they actually have ammo in them. And so, let's talk about actually how we're going to get this weapon to fire. So what you have options. First, you have your BBs. Make sure you buy expensive BBs. Don't spend cheap ones. If you buy an expensive airsoft gun, don't put cheap BBs in it. They'll blow up on your gun, cause you all kinds of havoc. Buy the nice BBs. Make sure you read the information on your manufacturer to find out what BB is required for your airsoft. All right. Now, when you go to put gas in it, you have 2 main options: propane or green gas. Propane is the cheap option. You can put thousands of rounds down range with the propane. But the thing is you got to buy some silicone lube to go with it, and you need to make sure that you're lubing some of these valves every few magazines or so, just to make sure that they don't dry out. If, however, you were to buy the green gas, it's a lot more expensive. It's about $15 for a can, and you get about half as many rounds as you would with the propane. However, you don't have to constantly lube everything because the green gas actually has it in there. Another downside to the propane is the smell. Like, I have to crack open the garage door if I'm in the garage. I would not do it in an enclosed. I would not do it inside. My wife would never let me live that one down. The house would smell like propane for a couple of days. So use it in a well-ventilated area. That way you don't have the smell of propane everywhere. Now, when it comes to, let me see here. All right, so once again, the propane, it's less expensive, but it smells, and you gotta lube the gaskets and the valves. The green gas, no odor, and you don't have to constantly lube the gaskets and the valves because it has silicone built into the spray itself. But it is more expensive. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. Now, let's get into the real reasons why these work so well as training aids. So I can easily work on target acquisition, and as you see, I can work on transitions from target to target. I can work on double taps. I don't have to constantly sit here, re-rack the slide, take a shot, re-rack the slide, take a shot. It does that for me. and at a fraction of the cost of doing any other kind of blowback devices. Now, I will tell you, if I were to do a trigger pull on this versus, all right, double check, triple check, make sure everything's safe, totally safe. So if I were to sit here and do a trigger pull on my real gun versus a trigger pull on this one, is very similar, but it is lighter, a lighter trigger pull on here. Now where it is a little bit different is the trigger pull after it's been pulled one time is actually almost the same as it is with my real gun. What does that mean? That means I can sit on the inside of my house and I can work on actually dry firing the weapon, pulling it to the rear, I'm pushing the trigger to the rear, making sure that front sight's not bouncing up and down, target transitions, drawing, all of this without even shooting any BBs out of it. So dry fire with this, to me, is quite convenient, and I love it. So hopefully, with this video, we've convinced you, even if a little bit, that using an airsoft gun is good for practice. It saves you in cost, it saves you big time in convenience, and it saves you big time with safety. So in the future we might get into actually some training that you can do with the airsoft pistols, but for this one I'm just trying to tell you the reasons why you need an airsoft pistol. Check us out at artofboom.com. There you'll find art, articles, and merchandise for the gun community. So until next time, go enjoy the boom life.